it's Krystal Everdeen, and today I'm going to share with you how I made this crochet daisy granny square headscarf. But before we get into the tutorial, I want to introduce you to the sponsor of this video, Luisa. If you are unfamiliar with Luisa is a jewelry brand that offers stunning necklaces, rings, and more. They are carbon neutral, which means that 100% of their carbon emissions related to their product life cycle are offset, keeping their environmental impact at a minimum. They are really big on sustainability, and that's actually another reason why I think that they're awesome. Plus, they also have fantastically fair prices, as many of their jewelry pieces start at just $39. There are no luxury markups, and their pieces are of exceptional quality, crafted with care from the best noble metals. I have partnered with Luisa in the past, and I just adore their jewelry. And they were actually kind enough to send me 2 new pieces this time around. First, this gorgeous gold plated star necklace with cubic zirconia stones and synthetic opal, as well as this beautiful heart necklace that would make for a perfect gift for yourself or a loved one, like your mom for Mother's Day coming up. Luisa is actually having a Mother's Day sale right now where you can get 15% off all of their products, every single product on their website, just by clicking the link in the description box below. You should totally get matching mother-daughter necklaces. Oh my gosh, that would be so cute, don't you think? I think that would be a great gift. I think your mom would absolutely love that. But yeah, please visit the link in the description to visit the Luisa website and take advantage of that 15% off. Again, a great gift for your mom or yourself or another loved one. But yeah, take advantage of that sale. Thank you so much to Luisa for sponsoring this video. Now on to the tutorial. The materials I'll be using for today's project include white yarn as well as pastel yellow yarn and a bright yarn. Now all of these are actually from different brands, but they are all size 4 100% acrylic. And finally, I will be using a size 5 millimeter hook. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how to create a full daisy granny square, and then after I teach you that, then I'll show you how to create a half daisy granny square, which I know sounds weird, but it's definitely essential for this project. So we're actually going to start off in the center right here. So we're going to grab our bright yellow yarn. We are going to create a slip knot, and after you've created that slip knot, you're going to place your hook within that loop. And then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And after you've chained 4, you're going to go back into that first chain, and you're going to then make a single crochet to attach the 2 ends together, and you're left with this little blob here. But you're going to kind of pull it apart and figure out where the middle stitch is. And once you figure out where the middle stitch is, then you're actually going to be making 8 double crochets within that middle stitch. Now, if you are a complete beginner to crochet and are not familiar with what a single crochet is, what a double crochet is, how to chain, and so on, I do have a crocheting for beginners video that is linked in the description box below, so you can practice with that first and then come back to this. Alrighty then, so I just created 2 double crochets inside of that opening in the middle. So remember to always go into that same opening in the middle right here. And I created 3, and now I'm going to work on my 4th double crochet, and now my 5th. And I know 8 sounds like a lot, but it's for a reason. In order for us to be able to properly do the granny squares. So let's see how many I did, because I was not counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, 1 more, and into the opening. Perfect. And this is what the project looks like so far. So this is going to be the middle of the flower. So to end this row of yellow, we're actually going to go into the very first double crochet that we made, and we're going to slip stitch it together like that. And now the center of our flower is complete, and we could move on to the petals, which are white. So we're going to be attaching our white yarn now. But before that, I'm going to cut the yellow yarn from the yarn ball, just so that I don't get tangled up with the 2 colors. So from here, I'm still having my hook in the loop, and I'm just going to attach the new color by chaining with it through the previous color and then grabbing the excess yarn and giving it a tug so that it could like really secure the new color. And then after that, I'm just going to chain one more time, and then I'm going to tug on this one more time. And now we could begin with the petals. So from here, we're going to go into every single one of those 8 stitches that we've made, and we're going to create the petals by doing triple crochet or extended double crochet, I believe. I'm not really sure what it's technically called, but it's essentially yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over, then through 1 stitch, then yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through the last 2 loops. And that's the only one that we're actually going to do like that. So yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, and then yarn over through 2 loops. And normally we would go through the last 2 loops, but we're actually going to keep it like that. And we're going to do it one more time inside of that same stitch. So yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and you're left with a total of 3 loops. And we're actually going to connect them all together by yarning over and then going through all 3 loops, and that's going to serve as 1 petal. And we're going to move on to the next petal by chaining 1 and then going into the next stitch. Then you're going to, when you go into that next stitch, you're going to make sure that you yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over again, go through the stitch, then yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and then yarn over through the last 2 loops. So only on that first one do you go through the last 2 loops, and then for the next 2, you do not. So yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and then you just stay like that. So yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over, then back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, then you have 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and then connect them all. See, and now you have 2 separate petals. You can tell that they're different because if you were to just do 3 extended double crochet or triple crochet, I'm not really sure what the stitch is called, but if you were to do 3 of those in a row, then they wouldn't be connected like this and everything would just like look weird. So in order for them to be like separate and connected to one another, then that's why you have to connect all 3 loops in the end. So yeah, from here we're going to chain 1 and then you're going to go into the next stitch. First yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and since this is the first stitch for the petal, we're going to go through the last 2 loops as well. Now we're going to yarn over, go through the same stitch, yarn over, back through a stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and then we're going to stay right here, and then yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over, back through the stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops. Now there's 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and connect them all like so, and then that's the 3rd petal. So yeah, we're just going to continue doing that all around the circle that we created with the double crochets in the previous row, just like that. So from here we're going to chain 1 and then yarn over, go through the next stitch, go through 1 loop, then 2 loops, then the last 2 loops since it's the first one. Then we're going to yarn over, go through the stitch, 1 loop, 2 loops, and then just leave it there. Yarn over, go through the same stitch, and then through 1 loop, through 2 loops, and there's 3 left on the hook, so we're going to yarn over and then go through all 3 of them, and we're halfway there. So chain 1, go into the next stitch, yarn over, through 1 loop, through 2 loops, and then through the last 2 loops, then yarn over, through 1 loop, 2 loops, and you just stay there, yarn over, through 1 loop, then 2 loops, and then through all 3 loops in the end. Chain 1, next stitch, then 1 loop, 2 loops, the last 2 loops, then 1 loop, 2 loops, the last 2 loops. Oop, actually no, see I messed up right there. Don't mess up like I did. we do not go through the last 2 loops after we've done the first stitch for the new petal. So now we can go through all of them. Then chain 1 onto the second to last stitch, I believe, and then this one is the first stitch for the new petal, so we go through all of the loops. This is the second stitch, so we do not go through all the loops. And then this is the third stitch, so we still don't go through all the loops until the very last step. Okay, I believe this is the last petal, so we're going to go through 2 loops, then 2 loops again, yarn over, go through the same stitch, then 1 loop and 2 loops, and then 1 loop, then 2 loops, then all 3 loops. So you should have a total of 8 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is what the project should look like so far. And after you've created your 8 petals, you're going to go into the very first stitch that you made from this row. And you're going to slip stitch to complete that row. So your project should look something like this right now. Kind of looks like an egg, not gonna lie. But once we add the pastel yellow, then it's going to separate the petals and it's going to look more like a flower as opposed to an egg. But if you want to know how to make an egg, this is one way. So like before, I am going to be cutting the yarn from the yarn ball just so I don't get all tangled up with the new color. So I'm going to bring my new color, this pastel yellow, and attach it to where I am currently. So I'm going to attach it the same way I did before. I'm just going to add it to my hook and go through the loop I was already working on. And then from here, I'm just going to chain 1 just to really secure it. And then I'm going to start with the actual pattern. So as I pointed out before, so all of these are actually separated by that chain 1 that we did in between the petals, right? So that's what we're going to be working on right now. So you're going to be making double crochets. So you're going to yarn over, go into the closest opening, which is going to be right under you, and you're going to create 3 double crochets inside of that opening. And I know it looks a little bit crazy right now because there's still excess yarn like flying everywhere. I don't cut that out until after I'm done with the entire project. But yeah, I just made 3 double crochets, and you know, everything's like sticking out and stuff, but again, I deal with that after. I just made 3 double crochets inside of that opening to separate the petals. And then from here, normally when I make granny squares, I like to chain 1 in between, but because this is such a small project, I want it to be as small as possible, not have too many gaps in between. I am not going to chain 1 here. You're just going to reach on over to the next opening and create 3 double crochets. And if you're not familiar with what a double crochet is, it is yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through a stitch, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through the last 2 loops. Again, yarn over through the stitch, yarn over back through the stitch, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through the last 2 loops. And this is what the project should look like so far. And from here, we're going to reach on over to the next opening right here, and we're going to create another 3 double crochets, and 2 and 3. But here, we're actually going to chain 1 and go into the exact same opening, and we're going to create another 3 double crochets in a row, and this is going to serve as a corner piece. Because 8 is such an even number, we're able to know when exactly there's going to be corners for this project. So 1 right here, and then a single set of double crochets in the middle, and then right here is another corner, and then next is going to be a single set of double crochets, and then it's going to be a corner, and then a single set of double crochets, and then a corner, single set of double crochets, and then we're going to make this a corner piece. And of course, the corner piece is basically 2 sets of double crochets with a chain 1 in between. So yeah, that's pretty much the pattern. So from here, we're going to go into the next opening and create our single set of 3 double crochets. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then the 3rd double crochet, and then we're going to reach over to the next one, and we already know that the next one is going to be a corner piece, so we'll be making 2 sets of 3 double crochets. So 1, set of double crochets, and then we're going to chain 1 and then create another set of double crochets. 1, 2, and 3 to complete our corner piece, and this is what the project looks like so far. So from here we're going to go into our next opening and create a single set of double crochets. So 3 double crochets in total within that same opening, and then after that we're going to reach over to the next opening, which is going to be a corner piece. So 2 sets of 3 double crochets in a row. So the first set of double crochets followed by a chain 1, and then the second set of double crochets, and 2 and 3. Now we're moving on to our last single set of double crochets into this next opening right here. So 1 and 2 and 3. Then we're going to reach on over to the opening that we first made our 3 double crochets in, but since this is actually going to serve as a corner piece, we need to make the second half of it. So we need to make another set of 3 double crochets within that same opening, and then we'll chain 1 and then slip stitch. So chain 1 and then slip stitch into the very first stitch to complete the granny square, and it should look something like this. Yay, your first little daisy granny square. So we're actually going to be making 10 of these. We need 10 little granny squares just like this. So after you've created 10, then we'll be able to put it all together. And then in addition to these, however, we're also going to need to know how to make a few half daisy granny squares as well to finish off the edging of the headscarf. So I'll teach you how to make those right now. So you don't necessarily have to make all 10 of them right now, or you can and then, you know, just pause the video and then come back to learn how to make the other ones. So yes, go ahead and make 10 of these total, and then come back to learn how to make the other granny square portion, and then we'll put it all together. Okay, so to make the half granny square, we're still going to start off the same by grabbing our bright yellow yarn and creating a slip knot, and then placing our hook within that slip knot. Then we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then go into the very first stitch and create a single crochet. Then we're going to find the middle of this project, and then we're going to create double crochets. However, we're not going to create 8 of them. We're going to only crochet 4 double crochets since we're making half of the granny square, where normally we would make 8 of them. Now we are only going to crochet 4 of them. So we're going to crochet 2 more because I just created the first 2. So 3 and 4. So from here, your project should look something like this, a little bit like this, kind of. Can you see it? Where it's kind of like just half, a little half circle. And then from here, I'm going to cut the yarn from the yarn ball because I don't want to get all tangled up. And then I'm going to add my white yarn so we can start working on the petals. Now, similar to what we made before, we're going to make sure that we separate the petals so that we can tell which ones are petals. So from here, I'm going to go into the first stitch, and we're going to make our triple crochet or extended double crochet. Again, I always forget what it's called. And then we're going to make yet another one inside of the same opening or the same stitch. This time we're only going to go through 1 loop, then the second to last 2 loop, and then we're going to yarn over through the same stitch, yarn over back through a stitch, yarn over through 1 loop, yarn over through 2 loops, and then we have 3 loops on our hook. So then we're going to yarn over one last time and then connect them all together, and that's our first petal. Going to yarn over and then go into our next stitch and do the exact same thing for this first stitch. We're going to make sure that we go through all of the loops, but then for the last 2, we're going to leave the last 2 loops unbothered. So there's 2 loops on my hook, and then for this one, we're going to again not go through the last 2 loops, and we're actually going to go through all 3 loops. And this is what the project should look like, a little half circle again, half an egg. And finally, I'm going to detach the yarn from the yarn ball one last time. And now I'm going to add my pastel yellow yarn, and we're going to then make the half granny square kind of look to it. So this one was a little bit difficult for me to figure out, but I'm guessing I'm just going to go into like this little part of the stitch right here and make my first double crochet, weave my way in there, and then create a double crochet with the new color. And then from here I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to build on top of that and just make my 3 double crochets on top of it. So after I've made my 3rd double crochet, it kind of looks like this. And then from here I'm going to reach on over to the next opening and create my next set of 3 double crochets. And again, this is just a single set of 3 double crochets, but for this next one we're actually going to make it a corner piece. So we're going to reach on over to the next opening, and we're going to crochet 2 sets of 3 double crochets as if it were going to be a corner piece. So it's more like going to be a little triangle, and this is going to be the point of that triangle. So this is one set, and then chain 1 in between, and then I'm going to create another set of 3 double crochets. So this is 2 and 3, and this is going to be the little point when we put it all together. You can already see like half of it right here. So then from here we're going to go into the next opening, and that's just going to be a single set of 3 double crochets within that opening. And after that we're going to reach on over to the very end of the project right here, kind of like what we did in the beginning, and we're still going to just make 3 double crochets inside of that one stitch, just to complete everything and make it look like it has a nice consistent border with the pastel yellow. So after you've created your 3 double crochets there, the project should look something like this. I know it looks a little crazy because of all of the yarn, but after that's all cut off, it'll look nice and clean. This is again what the project should look like, a little triangle piece to go along with the full pieces. In total you're going to need 10 of these full daisy granny squares and 5 of these half daisy granny squares. So 10 full and 5 half. So after you've made those, we can come back and I'll show you how to put it all together. Okay, so I have officially finished crocheting all 10 full granny squares and all 5 half granny squares. And now we're going to put it all together just by using a slip stitch, but the thing I need to show you is how exactly you're going to slip stitch everything together. So I'm going to align it to the way that it should be aligned. So this is the formation of the bandana that we're going to be making. So just like, I just want to make sure that you get a good look at this, because this is how we're going to be attaching everything. So I would suggest that you line it up like this, and then you attach say like these 2 together first, and then this one together, and you just kind of like keep everything like this until you attach it all, kind of like a big puzzle. That way you don't get confused as to where to attach certain things. Do you know what I mean? So like the first thing I'm going to do is attach these 2, right? So I'm just going to grab my pastel yellow yarn, and I'm going to slip stitch these 2 pieces together exactly how I grabbed them. So I'm just going to get my yarn and then attach it right here, and then just slip stitch all the way down the side of the side of both of these until they're all the way attached. And okay, so now that they're attached, I'm going to put them back where they were. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these 2. So I'm going to attach these 2 together from right here. That's exactly where I grabbed them from. And then once I attach those, I'm going to put it back, and then I'm going to grab these 2 and then attach it here. And then once I put that together, I'm going to grab these 2 and I'm going to attach it here, and so on and so forth until everything is attached. And yeah, that's pretty much how I'm going to attach everything and what you need to do. So after you're done attaching everything, I will get back to you. So I have just finished attaching all of the pieces together, and this is what the project looks like so far. Looks really, really cute. You could already see it coming together. However, there are still a couple more details we need to add. So this is what it looks like in the back, first of all, if you were wondering. This is where I attached all of them and made sure to attach everything on one side so that all of the like crevices from attaching are on one side, which is going to be the back or the bottom where nobody sees it, and this is going to be the top where everyone sees the cute little design. And I ended off right here after attaching the very last piece. I started from here, then just like worked my way down and finally attached this last piece here, and I kept the yarn attached to the yarn ball because what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go all around the project with a single crochet, and then once I reach this point of the bandana, I'm going to chain a chain to serve as the tie, I guess. I was going to say strap, but it's not really a strap. I guess the part where I'm able to actually tie it together. So I'm going to chain a number of chains for that. I'll let you know once I've actually chained them, how many I decide to do. I'm thinking probably like 50 or 70 chains, and then I'm going to go back on that chain with a single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet all along this area to the other side, and then I'm going to make my other my other tie with the same number of chains that I did for this side, and then I'm going to go back on it with a single crochet, and then finally end right where I started and finally be done with the project. So again, I'm starting from right here, and I'm just going to work my way all along the project by just going into every single stitch and creating a single crochet. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because it will make the ends of the project just that much cleaner. You could see that there's like little divots and stuff around the project, and crocheting a row of single crochet all along the entire project will make everything nice and even and look more pristine. So that's why I'm doing that, but you can totally skip this step if you want to and just make your ties so that you can tie this handkerchief around your head, and then you'd be done. But I'm going to add this extra step of single crocheting my way all along the project and then making the straps as I go along. So I have finished my row of single crochet going all around the project, and then once I reached here, I created a total of 50 chains for the strap. I keep calling it a strap because I always make crochet top tutorials, and you know, those are straps to hold the top up, but I don't know what to call these. Ties. So I made 50 chains for the ties, and then I went back on them with a slip stitch. Actually, I think I said single crochet before, but I used a slip stitch. And then once I got here, I single crocheted my way over to the other side where I chained another 50 chains, and then I went back on it with a slip stitch, and then I single crocheted my way up to where I originally started, and now I am officially done with the project. It was so much fun making this. This was the first time I ever tried crocheting a hair accessory like this, a headscarf or bandana. Normally I would make hats or beanies, but yeah, this was my first venture into bandanas. I think they're really cute. I see that crochet accessories such as these are really trendy right now, and I really love that. I'm so glad that crochet is finally getting the attention I think it deserves. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and have fun making this for yourself. Thank you again to Luisa for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check out their website today and get that 15% off by clicking the link in the description box below. That's analuisa.com/KrystalEverdeenMD. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video either interesting, entertaining, or helpful, please give it a big thumbs up before you go. And if you love free crochet tutorials, check out the rest of my channel, as I have a ton of them ranging from beginner friendly to more advanced. Finally, don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye! And have a magical day.